The space station horizon hung in the dark emptiness like a shining wheel. Lieutenant Han Jun walked quickly through the main corridor. His black uniform was perfectly clean, and his face showed no fear, but inside, his heart beat fast. Today, humans would meet the Eldari for the first time. Han checked his tablet again. The Eldari ship would dock in 20 minutes. For hundreds of years, this alien race had watched humans from far away. Now, because of new dangers in the galaxy, they needed friends. "Lieutenant Han, report to Docking Bay 3, said a voice from the speakers. Han touched the communication badge on his chest. "On my way, Chief Min." Chief Min waited at the docking bay with 5 other officers. Her face looked serious. "Han, you will be the guide for the Eldari commander. The safety of this meeting is your job. Do not fail." "Yes, Chief." A soft hum filled the air as the Eldari ship connected to the station. The door opened slowly. Han held his breath as the first Eldari stepped out. They were tall, at least 7 feet, and covered completely in strange armor. The armor was not like human metal suits. It seemed alive somehow, with parts that moved slightly like breathing skin. It was dark blue with lines of light that pulsed across its surface. The lead Eldari stepped forward. This one's armor had gold marks on the shoulders and chest. "I am Commander Key of the Eldari Protection Force," said the figure. The voice was deep and strong, but it came through what seemed to be a voice changer in the helmet. "We come in peace and hope for friendship." Chief Min bowed slightly. "Welcome to Horizon Station. I am Chief Min. This is Lieutenant Han Jun. He will be your guide during your stay." Han stepped forward and nodded respectfully. "It's an honor to meet you, Commander K." The helmet turned toward Han. Through the dark glass of the face shield, Han thought he saw eyes studying him carefully. "The honor is mine, Lieutenant." Over the next few hours, Han showed Commander Key and the 3 other Eldari representatives around the station. The aliens moved with strange grace despite their heavy-looking armor. They never removed any part of it, not even their helmets. "Do you always wear your armor?" Han asked as they entered the meeting room where talks would begin tomorrow. "Yes," Key answered simply. "Our bodies are not made for your air and light. The armor protects us and helps us survive here." Han noticed that when Key spoke, the commander's hands stayed perfectly still. Most people moved their hands when talking. Key was different, controlled and careful. Later that day, the station ran a safety drill. When the alarm sounded, Han was surprised to see Key react instantly, moving to protect the nearest humans and scanning for danger. "Just a drill, Commander," Han explained. "I see." Key relaxed slightly. "Your safety procedures are good, but your east corridor has 3 blind spots. Attackers could use these places to hide." Han was impressed. "You noticed that quickly." "I am a warrior first, diplomat second," Key said. The voice modulator made the words sound flat, but Han sensed pride behind them. That night, as Han prepared his report, he thought about the mysterious Commander Key. The Eldari moved like a trained fighter but spoke like a scholar. Their knowledge of the station's weaknesses showed a sharp, strategic mind. Han felt there was much more to learn about the Eldari. And somehow, he was sure that Commander Key was hiding something bigger than just a face behind that helmet. Tomorrow, the real talks would begin, and Han Jun would be watching Commander Key very carefully. 3 days passed on Horizon Station. Han Jun watched Commander Key with growing interest. The Eldari never took off the armor. Not once. During meals, the other aliens ate special food through tubes connected to their helmets. Key did the same. When humans slept, Key would stand by the window in the guest rooms, looking at the stars. "Don't you need to rest?" Han asked on the 3rd night. "My kind needs less sleep than humans," Key said through the voice modulator. The deep voice always sounded the same, flat and male. The other human officers didn't like Kai. They said the commander was cold and strange. But Han saw things they missed. In the morning meeting, when Dr. Yuna showed pictures of Earth's oceans, Han noticed Kei lean forward slightly. The commander's hands opened and closed, like someone trying to imagine touching water. Later, when they walked past the station's small garden, Kei stopped. "These are flowers?" the commander asked. "Yes, roses from Earth," Han explained. Kai stood very still, looking at the red roses. "We have nothing like this. Our world has no small, soft things." The modulated voice seemed softer somehow. That afternoon, Han took Kei to see the station school. 20 children were there, drawing pictures. When they saw the tall, armored alien, some children looked scared. A small boy named Jin stepped forward bravely. "Are you a robot?" he asked Kei. Han started to tell Jin this was rude, but Kei raised a hand to stop him. "No, child. I am alive, like you, just different." The commander knelt down, making the armor creak. Now Kei was closer to the boy's height. "What are you drawing?" Jin held up his picture. "A spaceship. I want to fly one someday." "It is good to have dreams," Kei said. The boy smiled and ran back to his friends. As they left, Han looked at Kei with new eyes. "You're good with children. They see clearly. They don't fear difference as much as adults." Kei's helmet turned to Han. "Your kind is interesting. So emotional. So connected to each other." That night, Han couldn't sleep. He walked to the observation deck, a big room with windows looking out at space. He was surprised to find Kei already there, standing alone in the dark. "Commander, is everything okay?" Kei didn't turn around. The stars looked different from here. Han stood next to the tall figure. "How long have you been a warrior?" There was a long pause. 126 of your years." Han's eyes went wide. "That's a very long time." "Yes, a long time alone in armor." Kei's modulated voice couldn't show feeling, but the words themselves carried sadness. "Alone. Don't you have family? Friends? Warriors serve apart from others. It is our way." Kei finally turned to Han. "I have fought in 12 wars. I have seen 42 worlds. But I have never—" The commander stopped. "Never what?" Han asked softly. "Never had someone ask if I was lonely." Kei looked back to the stars. "Until now." They stood in silence for a while. Han felt strangely comfortable with Kai, despite the alien's strange appearance. "Lieutenant Han," Kei said finally, "do humans still make poetry? Your kind once sent signals into space. I heard poems about Earth's moon. You heard our broadcasts." Han was shocked. "That was over 100 years ago." "Yes. I was young then. I liked the poems best." Han smiled. This warrior, this strange being in living armor with a voice like a machine, had been listening to human poetry among the stars. The Eldari commander was not what Han had expected. Not at all. On the 4th day, the peace talks were going well. Humans and Eldari sat around a big table, talking about trade and help in wars. Han stood by the wall, watching Commander Kei speak in that deep, machine-like voice. Suddenly, alarms rang through the station. Red lights flashed. Chief Min's voice came over the speakers. "All security to battle stations. Pirates are attacking. 3 ships have docked on the lower levels." The room filled with fear. The human leaders looked scared. Even the Eldari seemed worried, their armor lights flashing faster. Han pulled out his gun. "Everyone stay here. We'll keep you safe." Kai stood up. "I will fight with you, Lieutenant Han." Before Han could argue, the doors burst open. 5 men with black masks ran in, shooting. Han pushed the closest leaders under the table and fired back. Kei moved like lightning. The Eldari commander jumped over the table and hit 2 pirates with armored fists. They fell down hard. Kei's armor seemed to glow brighter in battle. "Get the leaders to the safe room," Han shouted to the other guards. He and Kei would hold off the pirates. Back to back, they fought. Han with his gun, Key with strange weapons that came out of the armor's arms. They moved together like they had practiced for years. More pirates came. Han counted 15 now. Too many. We need to fall back, Han yelled. Agreed, Key said. The commander's modulated voice stayed calm even in battle. They backed down the hallway, fighting as they went. Han saw a flash from the corner and knew. A pirate was aiming at a group of children and teachers hiding behind a door. Without thinking, Han jumped. The shot hit him in the side. He fell, feeling hot pain spread through his body. Through blurry eyes, he saw Key pick up his dropped gun and shoot the pirate. Then the Eldari commander was beside him, lifting him easily. Han, stay awake. Key's voice seemed different now. The modulator made it sound worried, almost scared. Key carried Han into a small maintenance room and locked the door. Han could hear fighting outside. His side was wet with blood. Bad? He asked weakly. Yes. Key set him down gently against the wall. The medical bay is too far. You will not. The commander stopped talking. Han felt cold. He knew what that meant. The wound was very bad. Key made a strange sound, like the armor was sighing. I must break my orders. I cannot let you die. Through pain-filled eyes, Han watched as Key's armored hand reached up to the wrist of the other arm. There was a click, and then the commander pulled off the right glove. Han blinked in surprise. The hand that emerged was not what he expected. It was slender and delicate, with long fingers. The skin was light blue with small patterns that glowed softly. It was the most beautiful hand Han had ever seen. What? Han tried to speak. Be still, Key said. The voice from the helmet was still deep and male, but now it seemed wrong somehow. That hand did not match that voice. The blue fingers touched Han's wound gently. They'd pressed something cool against his skin. Almost at once, the pain began to fade. Our healing compound, Key explained. It will stop the bleeding. As the medicine worked, Han felt stronger. He looked at the alien's exposed hand, then up at the helmet that still hid Key's face. Who are you really? Han whispered. The helmet tilted slightly. For a moment, Han thought he heard a different voice, softer, musical, before the modulator corrected it. Someone who could not watch you die, Key answered. Outside, the battle sounds were ending. The station's security was winning, but Han knew something bigger had just begun. 3 days after the pirate attack, Han was back on duty. The Eldari healing medicine had worked like magic. Dr. Yuma said she had never seen a wound close so fast. You were lucky, Chief Min told Han in her office. 17 pirates dead, 12 caught. Only 5 of our people hurt, none killed. What did they want? Han asked. Information about the Eldari, we think. Someone paid them well. Min looked hard at Han. Commander Key carried you to safety. Han nodded, remembering the blue hand. Yes, the commander helped me. Interesting. Min didn't smile. Be careful around the aliens, Han. We still don't know much about them. Later, Han went to the guest quarters where Kai stayed. The door opened before he could knock. Key stood there, fully armored as always. Lieutenant Han, you are well. The deep voice from the helmet sounded the same, but Han now wondered what voice was really behind it. Yes, thanks to your medicine. Han stepped inside. I wanted to thank you. No thanks needed. You were brave to protect the children. Han looked at Key's right hand, now covered again in armor. Your hand. It wasn't what I expected. Kai stood very still. What did you expect? I don't know. Something bigger, less beautiful. The modulated voice had an odd tone. Han felt his face get warm. I was going to say less human. Your hand looked almost like ours. Kai walked to the window. Many species look similar across the stars. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. It is a good design. Han smiled at this. Then he asked the question he had been thinking about for days. Why do the Eldari hide so much? Why the armor all the time? Kai was quiet for a long moment. Our minds. We are telepathic. Being near non-telepathic species is difficult for us. The armor helps block the mental noise. You can read my thoughts. Han felt worried. No, not without touching bare skin to skin. The armor prevents that. Ki turned back to Han. That is why showing you my hand was forbidden. But I could not let you die. Over the next few days, Han and Ki spent more time together. They talked about their worlds, their beliefs, their lives. Ki knew many Earth poems by heart. Han taught Ki about human music. One evening, they sat in the station's small garden. Han noticed something strange. As Ki talked about Eldari history, the commander's voice changed slightly. The modulator would sometimes slip, letting higher notes come through before correcting back to the deep male voice. Ki, Han interrupted. Your voice just now, it sounded different. The Eldari went still. The modulator may need adjustment. Or maybe it's working exactly as planned, Han said carefully. Maybe it's changing your real voice to sound different. Kai stood up quickly. You ask many questions, Lieutenant Han, because I want to know the real you. Han stood too. You've saved my life. You've shared your world with me. But I feel like I'm only seeing a mask. The helmet faced him. For 5 long seconds, Ki said nothing. Then, very softly, through the modulator. Some masks protect the wearer. Some protect the viewer. Mine does both. Before Han could ask what that meant, an urgent call came through his communicator. Lieutenant Han to the command center immediately. I have to go, Han said. I know. Ki nodded. But Han, be careful. I sense something is wrong on this station, something more dangerous than pirates. Han looked at the armored figure, wondering again who was really inside. Han rushed to the command center. Chief Min and 5 officers stood around a computer screen. What's happening? Han asked. Min pointed to the screen. Someone tried to break into our main computer. They almost got access to our defense systems. The pirates. No. Min's face was hard. This was done from inside the station. Someone here is a traitor. Han felt cold. Do we know who? Not yet. But we found this. Min held up a small blue device. It had the same strange patterns as the Eldari armor. It was used to hack our system. Han's heart beat faster. That's Eldari technology. Yes. Min looked at Han with sharp eyes. Your friend Commander Ki is now our main suspect. That's not possible, Han said quickly. Ki helped fight the pirates. Ki saved my life. Maybe to gain your trust. Min sighed. I'm sorry, Han. We have to put Ki in holding until we can prove the truth. 4 guards with big guns went with Han to find Ki. The commander was in the meeting room with the other Eldari. Commander Ki, Han said formally, I need you to come with me. The helmet turned to look at Han. What is wrong, Lieutenant? Han explained about the blue device and the computer break-in. The other Eldari moved back, their armor lights flashing in surprise. I did not do this, he said. But the commander went with the guards without fighting. They put Ki in a room with a force field door. Han stood outside, feeling terrible. He didn't believe Ki was guilty. I will find who really did this, Han promised. Be careful, Ki warned. Whoever did this is dangerous. Han spent hours checking security videos and computer logs. Nothing showed who used the blue device, but he noticed something strange. During the times of the break-in attempts, one Eldari was always missing from the cameras. It wasn't Kai. It was Ta, the Eldari science officer. Han went to Ta's room, but the Eldari wasn't there. He searched carefully and found hidden under the bed 3 more blue devices. It's Ta, Han said into his communicator. Not Ki. I found proof in Ta's room. No answer came back. Hello, Chief Min. Anyone? Still no answer. All the communicators were down. Han ran into the hallway. The lights were flickering. Something was very wrong. He rushed to the command center, but the doors wouldn't open. From inside, he heard worried voices. Main power is failing. Life support systems are shutting down. Han turned and ran toward the east side of the station. He had to find Ta. But as he turned a corner, he saw the Eldari standing there. "Officer Tai," Han said, pulling out his gun. "Stop what you're doing." Tai's armor seemed darker than the other Eldaris. "Lieutenant Han, you are too late. Why are you doing this? The peace talks are going well. Some Eldari do not want peace with humans." Tai's modulated voice was cold. "My group believes we should conquer, not talk." Han raised his gun. "Turn the systems back on." "I think not." Ta moved faster than Han could see. A hard blow hit Han's arm. His gun flew away. Another hit sent him falling backward through a doorway. Han heard a hiss as the door closed between them. Warning lights flashed. A computer voice spoke. "Warning. Section depressurizing in 2 minutes." Han tried the door. Locked. He was trapped in a section that would soon have no air. Tai's voice came through the speaker. "Goodbye, Lieutenant. You should have stayed away from Eldari matters." Han looked around desperately. No other doors. No way out. And worst of all, no way to warn Ki about the true enemy. Han pounded on the door. His lungs already felt tight as the air thinned. The computer voice counted down. 1 minute 30 seconds to depressurization. He looked for anything to help him. Nothing. He tried his communicator again. Still dead. 1 minute to depressurization. Han sat against the wall. Was this how it would end? He closed his eyes, thinking of Earth, his family, and strangely, of Ki. A loud bang made his eyes snap open. Something hit the door from outside. Then again, harder. The metal began to bend. With a screech, the door was torn open. There stood Commander Ki, armored hands gripping the broken door. "Han." The modulated voice had a strange sound to it now, almost like worry. "Kai, how did you?" "No time." "Come." Ki pulled Han through the door and sealed it with a device from the armor. Just in time, the hiss of escaping air stopped. "The holding cell," Han started. "I broke out when the systems failed." Ki led Han quickly down the hall. "The air is bad in many parts of the station. We must get to the control room." As they moved through the dim hallways, red emergency lights cast strange shadows. Other people were trapped behind doors. Ki stopped to help each one. "Tai is the saboteur," Han explained as they ran. "I found proof in his room. I feared this. Ta belongs to the old order. They believe Eldari should rule all other species." They reached a sealed door that wouldn't open. The control room was on the other side. They could hear voices calling for help inside. "The air is almost gone in there," Ki said, looking at readings on the armor's arm. "The backup systems are failing too. Can we get in?" Kai hesitated. "Yes, but I must." The commander seemed to be making a hard choice. "Han, what you will see, you must not tell others yet." Before Han could ask what this meant, Ki reached up and touched the helmet. With a soft hiss, the commander began to remove it. Han's eyes went wide. He had wondered for days what the Eldari looked like. Now he would know. The helmet came off. Han stared in shock. Where he expected to see a male alien face, he saw instead a beautiful female face. Her skin was light blue with glowing patterns like stars across her cheeks. Her eyes were large and bright silver, without white parts like human eyes. Instead of hair, she had what looked like thin crystals that moved gently as if in water. Her features were delicate but strong, with high cheekbones and a determined mouth. She was the most beautiful being Han had ever seen. "You're a woman," Han whispered. Her real voice, now free of the modulator, was musical and clear. "Yes, my true name is Kira." But the voice, the armor, Why? No time to explain fully. Her silver eyes looked into his. Female Eldari have stronger mental powers. I need to use them now to save your people. She placed her blue hands against the door and closed her eyes. The patterns on her skin glowed brighter. Han felt a strange pressure in the air, like before a storm. Slowly, the door controls lit up by themselves. The door slid open. Inside, Chief Min and 10 others gasped for breath in the thin air. They looked up in shock at the beautiful blue alien standing where Commander Key should be. What in the stars? Min began, but couldn't finish as she coughed. Kira rushed to the main computer. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. The air systems hummed back to life. Fresh air began to flow. Breathe, she told them. You are safe now. Han watched as the humans stared in wonder at Kira. The secret was out. Commander Key, the strong male Eldari warrior, was actually this beautiful female alien, and Han realized they had only begun to learn the truth. An hour later, they sat in the meeting room. The station was working again. Search teams looked for Ta, who had escaped to the lower levels. Chief Min stared at Kira, who sat calmly without her helmet. The other Eldari stood in the corner, their armor lights blinking fast, like they were nervous. So, Min said slowly, you've been lying to us from the start. Not lying, Kira said in her musical voice. Protecting. There is a difference. Han sat beside her. He still couldn't believe the change. Commander Kai, strong, deep-voiced, and male, was now Kira, beautiful, musical-voiced, and female. Explain, Min demanded. Kira nodded. In Eldari society, females are born with stronger mental powers. We can control machines with our minds. We can feel others' thoughts when we touch them. We can even heal with our energy. So females are more powerful, Han said. Yes, and for thousands of years that made us targets. Kira's silver eyes looked sad. Other species hunted female Eldari to use our powers or study them. So we made a choice. All female Eldari who leave our world must hide in armor and change their voices. A secret kept for centuries, Min said, sounding impressed despite herself. The armor is real. All Eldari wear it off-world. Our bodies do need protection from your air and light. But for females, it also hides who we truly are. Kira looked at Han. Female Eldari are the true leaders of our kind. The ones you thought were our leaders are just spokesmen. One of the armored Eldari stepped forward. Commander Kira broke our highest law by showing herself. She should be punished. Kira stood up. Even without her armor, she was tall and proud. Would you rather all humans on this station died? Tai was going to kill everyone. The law. The law must sometimes bow to life, Kira said firmly. Han watched her with new eyes. Her crystal hair moved softly around her face. The patterns on her blue skin glowed brighter when she spoke with feeling. She was powerful in a way her armor had hidden. Where is Ta now? Min asked. Still on the station, Han said, but hiding. We've locked down all escape pods. Tai is dangerous, Kira warned. He has weapons and will kill to escape. Min nodded to her officers. Double the search teams. Be careful. When the others left to join the search, Han stayed with Kira. They sat alone in the quiet room. I have so many questions, Han said. Kira smiled. It was the first time he had seen her smile. It made the patterns on her face glow like stars. I know. Ask. Why did you save me? The first time, in the maintenance room, you broke your laws for me. Kira looked down at her blue hands. At first I told myself it was because you were brave. You jumped in front of a gun to save children. And later, her silver eyes met his. I began to feel something I should not feel for a non-Eldari, something that made my duty difficult. Han felt his heart beat faster. What was that? Before she could answer, the door opened. Another Eldari rushed in. Commander, we found Ta's location. He's in the main power room. Kira stood up quickly. He's going to try to destroy the station. She reached for her helmet. Han put his hand on hers, stopping her. Their eyes met. Don't hide anymore, he said softly. Not with me. For a moment, Kira seemed torn. Then she nodded and left the helmet on the table. Let's find Todd, she said. Together, Han, Kira, and 6 security officers ran toward the main power room. Without her helmet, everyone they passed stared at Kira in wonder. Some seemed afraid, others curious. What's Ta planning? Han asked as they ran. If he overloads the main reactor, the whole station will explode, Kira explained. Her crystal hair flowed behind her like water. He would rather kill everyone than let humans and Eldari become allies. They'd reached the power room door. It was locked from inside. Can you open it? Han asked Kira. She nodded and placed her blue hands on the control panel. The patterns on her skin glowed brightly. Han felt that strange pressure in the air again as she used her mental powers. The door slid open. Inside, Ta stood at the main control panel. His armor looked darker than before, with red lights instead of blue. He turned when they entered. The secret keeper reveals herself at last, Ta said through his modulator. His voice was cold. Step away from the controls, Han ordered, raising his gun. Ta laughed. Your human weapon cannot harm my armor. But mine can, Kira said. She raised her hand, and energy crackled around her fingers. Ta moved fast. He threw something small that exploded with bright light. Everyone covered their eyes. When Han could see again, Tai was gone. Where did Han began? Something hit him hard from behind. He fell forward as Tai appeared from the shadows. The Eldari must have some kind of cloaking device in his armor. The security officers fired their guns, but Ta moved too quickly. He knocked them down one by one. Kira stepped forward, her hands glowing with energy. Enough, Ta. Ta stopped. The great Commander Kira. Look how far you have fallen, showing your true face to these animals. Humans are not animals, Kira said firmly. They are different from us, but worthy of respect. Weakness. Ta spat the word. Female Eldari were once warriors to be feared. Now you talk of peace and friendship. Han watched as Kira circled Ta. They looked like 2 dancers, each waiting for the other to move first. True strength is knowing when not to fight, Kira said. Ta laughed again. Let me show you real strength. He pressed something on his arm, and his armor seemed to grow larger. Then he attacked. Ta and Kira fought in a blur of movement. Kira was fast, but Tay's enhanced armor made him stronger. He knocked her against a wall. Your armor protected you, Ta said. Without it, you are weak. Kira stood up straight. I am Eldari, with or without armor. She closed her eyes. The patterns across her blue skin glowed brighter than Han had ever seen. The air crackled with energy. Tai ran at her, but suddenly stopped mid-step. His armor began to crack. Light poured from the cracks. What are you doing? Ta's voice rose in panic. Showing you true strength, Kira said quietly. With a loud sound, Tay's armor broke apart. It fell to the floor in pieces. Inside was a small, thin male Eldari with pale blue skin. He looked nothing like the powerful warrior his armor had made him seem. Everyone stared in shock. Han realized the armor had been hiding Ta's true form too, making him look bigger and stronger than he really was. Tai covered his face with his hands. No, you have no right. Kira walked to him. No more hiding. No more lies. She looked at Han and the other humans. This is the truth of the Eldari. We are not all warriors. We are not all strong. Like humans, we are different shapes and sizes. The security officers moved forward and took Tai away. He went without fighting, his head down in shame. Han looked at Kira with new understanding. You broke all your rules today. Kira nodded. Her silver eyes seemed tired but proud. Some rules need breaking, she said. 2 days after Taz's capture, the station was peaceful again. But things had changed forever. In the main meeting room, human leaders sat on one side of the table. On the other side sat the Eldari. Most still wore their armor and helmets. But Kira sat without hers, her blue skin and crystal hair visible to all. "The peace talks cannot continue," said one armored Eldari named Lon. "Our greatest secret is now known. We must return home and decide what to do." Chief Min shook her head. "Running away solves nothing. Kira has shown us the truth, that our two species can work together despite our differences." Lon's helmet turned to Kira. "You have broken our oldest law. The council will punish you." Kira sat tall in her chair. "Then I will face them. But first, I will finish what we started here." Han stood nearby, watching Kira with pride. She had changed everything. For the Eldari, for humans, and for him. "Perhaps," said Dr. Yuna, "this is a chance for a new beginning. True alliance means true understanding. How can we be allies if we don't know who you really are?" The room was quiet as everyone thought about this. Then Kira stood up. "For 10,000 years, female Eldari have hidden our true selves from other species. We thought it kept us safe." She looked around at everyone. "But what kind of safety comes from hiding who you are? What kind of alliance is built on lies?" One by one, the other Eldari looked at each other. Slowly, one reached up and removed her helmet. It was another female, older than Kira, with deeper blue skin. "I am Elder Sora," she said in a musical voice like Kira's. "I too am tired of hiding." The humans gasped. Another leader, not just Kira, was female. A third Eldari removed his helmet, revealing a male face, narrow with pale blue skin. "I am Ren. Not all of us agree with the old ways." Soon, 5 Eldari sat with faces showing. 3 females, 2 males. The others kept their helmets on, not ready for such a big change. "This is a historic day," Chief Min said. "Let's continue our talks, but this time, with honesty." For hours, they talked about the future. A new treaty was written. Humans would share their art, music, and science. Eldari would share their mental powers and healing medicine. Both would protect each other from enemies. When the meeting ended, Han and Kira walked to the observation deck. "The stars seem brighter somehow. Your council might still punish you," Han said. "Yes, but I believe they will see this was the right choice." Kira's silver eyes looked at the stars. "For too long, we have lived in fear. It's time for change." Han moved closer to her. "Will you go back to your world now?" "First, I have a request." She turned to face him. "Someone needs to be the first ambassador to Earth. I have asked to be that person." Han's heart felt light. "And what did they say?" "They agreed. I leave in 3 days." She smiled, making the patterns on her face glow. "I was hoping you might come with me, to help me understand humans better." "I would like that," Han said. His hand moved slowly toward hers. Their fingers touched gently. A warm feeling filled Han's mind. Happy, bright, like sunshine. He pulled back in surprise. "What was that?" "A small part of my thoughts," Kira explained. "When we touch skin to skin, I cannot help but share a little." "It was beautiful," Han said. "It is how we truly communicate, without armor, without fear." They stood together watching the stars, their hands almost touching, but not quite. There would be time for that. Time to learn each other's ways. Time for new beginnings. In the reflection of the window, Han saw a human man and a blue-skinned alien woman with crystal hair. Different in every way. And yet, somehow, exactly where they both belonged.